It's great to see you, pal. I mean, listen, we've talked almost all day about Cameron Smith, still trying to make sense of a display like that. What was your chief takeaway from his accomplishment?
I've always been impressed with Cam Smith. I think his golf swing is fantastic. He gets a little bit long and loose at the top, but when his timing is on, it's exquisite. And I think we've seen his putting is incredible. And at the old course, you've got to putt from everywhere. We saw guys last week putting from 40 and 50 yards off the greens. Cameron Smith just seems to get it done. He seems fearless. He almost seems oblivious to the pressure. And I'm thoroughly impressed with Cameron Smith. I just can't even put into words how shocked I was, especially at that up and down he had at 17. The second shot he hit was predictable because that is the scariest shot in golf. But that putt he hit up the side of the road bunker, that was brave. That was really brave. That was Seve-like. The way that if you miss it just a little bit, if you catch it on the toe or the heel, that ball could run up and come back into the road bunker, and you're going to make at least 6, maybe 7, and that's the Open. But he put it up on the green, makeable, and he drained it. So gold stars across the board for Cam Smith last week.
Jake, it seemed like he pressed all the right buttons on that final 9. And Rory McIlroy on the other side appeared to be in command, but wasn't getting putts to drop. Now as the drought continues to go on in majors, what do you think is the reason where Rory hasn't showed that same type of freedom on Sundays to close out majors that we see earlier in the week?
One thing that happens when you lead a tournament, any tournament, is the pressure of how do you approach the final round. And I think Rory, even though he was tied with Hovland starting the final day, he was 4 clear. And maybe he played a little bit too conservatively. I don't know. But the way that the golf course played on Sunday, I thought it was par 67 for Rory with his length, with the drivable par 4s. And he shot 70. So in my mind, he shot +3. I think Rory's going to come back. He's got too much conviction. He's got too much character. I think he's going to use this as a learning example of what he needs to do next time. Everybody has to find their flow. Everybody has to find the way that they have to attack a golf course. Look at Cam Smith. He knew he had to go low. So it was, batten down the hatches, all stops are out. We're going to go at everything. Maybe Rory was not that way. Maybe he was a little cautious. I don't know. But my heart breaks for Rory. He was clearly the people's favorite. You could hear the roars and the cheers all over the golf course. But I think Rory is going to use this, and he will come back bigger and better than before.
Rory was a big-time protagonist last week. So was Tiger Woods. You played with a 19-year-old Tiger at the 95 Open at St. Andrews. What do you remember about that time and maybe where he is today?
It was 1995. I had gotten to know Tiger a little bit as an amateur. He won the U.S. Junior and the U.S. Amateur in my hometown of Portland, Oregon. And I was involved in both those tournaments, so I got to know him a little bit. So when we teed off, Tiger and I were paired with Ernie Els, another young superstar. And I remember Tiger was full of questions. He talked about how to play the golf course, how to control trajectory into the wind. He talked about curving shots. And he was just an open book. He wanted to know everything. I was, I think, 41 or 42 at the time, and certainly not a major champion. I wasn't a great player. I was a longtime player on tour. But he asked all the right questions. And I have to admit, when he finished up, walked across the Wilkin Bridge, and he teared up coming down 18, I did too. I was on the call, and it just made me a little bit sad thinking about the great players in our game. I think about Arnold and Jack and Gary and Trevino. When their skills start to erode and their legacy is well intact, but we all want to see them. We want to watch them do their best. And I just admire Tiger so much for the way that he's handled himself during this ordeal, and I hope we see him many, many more times at the Open Championship.
Jake, so many special moments last week at St. Andrews throughout the week. The celebration of champions, kind of the precursor to the 150th playing of the Open. You get to the final 2 holes. You had 3 guys potentially with a shot of winning it with Cam Smith, Cameron Young, and Rory McIlroy. Now that we have a day to look in the rearview mirror at what happened at the Old Course, what would you say was your biggest takeaway?
Well, my first takeaway was that there's always young talent coming up. I've known Cam Young since he was in high school. He played at Wake Forest. I'm a member at Sleepy Hollow up in New York, so I see him a lot. I see his mom and dad a lot up there. And to see where he's come when he was at Wake to where he is now, it just reinforces the strength of the game of golf on the PGA Tour and around the world. These young kids are willing to take your place at any time. You slip up as a veteran player, there's somebody like Cam Young ready to take your place. And number 2, it's just for me to be at St. Andrews, the home of golf, staying at Russock's right there on the 18th fairway. I walked the city every day. Obviously, with jet lag, we're up early. I would just walk the city. I'd go to all the little pubs. Have to admit, I did have a few, probably more beers than I normally would have. But I wanted to take in the sights and the sounds, because being in St. Andrews, you could fall out of the Dunvegan. You could fall off a bar stool at the Dunvegan and roll onto the 18th green at the Old Course. That's how close this city is in proximity to the Old Course. It's extremely special, as you guys both know. And I just can't wait to get back, whenever we go back in the future, to another Open at St. Andrews.
Jake, you said it so well. I spent all of last week like one giant goosebump. I loved every second on that property and in that town. Thanks for hopping on with us, and we look forward to speaking to you soon. Have a great week at Glen Eagles. We'll catch up soon.
You got it. Thanks, guys. Good to see you.